realize, the first time you revise this or the fourth time you revise this for 610 as your chapter 1, that you're like, oh, I've got to rearrange this order, and now it's going to really make sense. So when that all finally gels, it's all part of the process as we're working it through to get there. So you're not alone in that. You're not alone in that struggle. So we just keep, the question is, what do you think is the biggest thing that's causing you the confusion? And let's see if we can tackle and clarify that.
Well, I mean, I have all of these things in my mind. Like I wanted to focus on collaboration and critical thinking, but then I bring up motivation, and then I talk about technology, and then I talk about reading comprehension, and those are all, I think, huge topics, and could be mutually, individually studied. Yep. But then I'm bringing them all together, and so I don't think I'm doing justice.
Okay, so let's back up. Why do you feel like you need to bring them all together?
I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, that I don't know. I'm very passionate about this idea of 21st century skills, and that our students don't have them. I mean, my first course in KSP was with Dr. Ford, and we focused on 21st century skills, and that's kind of where my passion is this idea of all of these technology skills and trying to implement them into the classroom. And so that's where that's why I keep holding on to the 21st century skills, because I have some passion behind that, and I know that my students don't have those skills yet.
Okay, so do you have literature and research that backs that up, that says they don't have them?
No, and that is what I cannot find. I mean, there is some out there, but there's not a lot, because it's just not out there.
Well, it's not going to be out there under the title of 21st century.
Right.
It's going to be out there under the title of the various different parts of 21st century. So like the idea of the skill of collaboration.
And I'm even struggling to find studies that specifically state kids don't have this. Or studies that say they don't have this. I mean, there are some studies out there, but I'm not finding a lot. And I'm not looking under 21st century skills necessarily. I am looking under collaboration and critical thinking and all of those strands. And I'm just not finding what I had envisioned I would find, because I would think that there would be a lot of research out there on that. And
so why do you think you're not finding it?
I mean, apparently it's not being done, or it's not relevant, or it's not, I mean, there are some out there, but they're a lot older.
Okay.
I mean, they're 15, 20 years old, and so within the last decade, there hasn't been a lot of research on.
So did they fundamentally, 15 years ago, did they fundamentally find the answer to that question? To those questions about how to do critical thinking and how to do collaboration?
I mean, they might have. I mean, they have strategies out there to bring collaboration and critical thinking into the classroom. It's just maybe not necessarily being done.
Right. Okay, so why do you feel like your kids need to have these skills?
Because in our current society, those are the types of skills that employers are looking for, is people that can collaborate with others and that have, real-time thinking. It's problem solving now. It's not your mundane press a button, type up this report types of jobs out there anymore. It's all innovative. And if kids don't have those skills, they're not going to be successful when they go out and to look for jobs.
Okay, and you have the argument that employers are looking for these skills. The struggle is you don't necessarily have evidence that the students don't have these skills.
Correct. And like you had mentioned, I don't remember what comment it was, but that, I have, just exactly what you said. I don't have the evidence that says, because I I mean, educators aren't, I don't think educators are necessarily testing for it. Like, I don't do a test on collaboration to see what they score on it.
Can we test it?
I don't think so. I don't think
Do
it's...
we even have a clear definition of what collaboration looks like, or what critical thinking looks like it, or what problem solving is?
I don't think so. I don't think it's something that you can test. I think you can reflect those skills.
So if it's not something you can test, is it something we can teach?
I think you can give opportunities. Well, I think you can I think you can teach it, but I think it's teaching in a different sense. I think it's more you can provide opportunities for the students to work on the skills that are involved in collaborating. So when you talk about collaboration, is everyone working together? Does everybody have a role? Is everybody clearly engaged in what they were doing? Is everybody following through with their assignments? All of those parts all fill into collaboration, and so you can assess on those, I think. You can assess whether students are, if everybody has a role in the group, if everybody successfully follows through with their role. I think those can be assessed. But
okay.
And then And then I feel like I just go, and then, so I'm talking about 21st century skills, critical thinking and collaboration, and then I feel like I just go into reading comprehension, and I don't feel like there's a lot of connection between the two. I think students, and you even make the point, of course, students need to read. Like we
Right.
know that students need to read, but how does that connect with 21st century skills? And the framework of 21st century skills, the students have to be they have to have reading comprehension in the content areas in order to, focus on any of those critical 21st century skills. They need to be able to read and write in order to collaborate and in order to work on their critical thinking skills.
So is the problem that they can't read and write, and that's why they can't do the collaboration in 21st century skills? Or is the problem that they know how to read and write, but they can't engage in those other skills? Or is that not even really the problem you really want to get at?
I don't think that's the problem I want to get at.
Okay, so what fundamentally, as you've been working and digging through all of this, has really been sparking your interest and has really been capturing your thoughts?
I guess, reading comprehension in the content area is kind of, more interesting to me right now, as I was looking up different strategies and things to increase reading comprehension in the content area. That's where
What is your content area?
Social studies.
Okay.
So, and in my particular class I have, or in my, my district, I have all students, all levels, all my EBD, all my LD, I have all of the kids, and I've got so many kids that they can't read at seventh grade level, and here I am trying to teach them about the Great Depression, and they have no, they can't read at the level, they have no context clues, they have no background knowledge, they have no vocabulary, and so they're not ready to be reading seventh grade material at all. And obviously some are, but the large majority of my students are not. And so I think that's kind of where my head is.
If you focused on reading comprehension and we wove in 21st century skills, but you focused on reading comprehension rather than focusing on 21st century skills and trying to weave in the reading comprehension, would you feel like you were giving up?
I thought about that, and I thought kind of yes, but I don't know. I I feel like at this point I don't know what else to do because I'm struggling to weave it. I'm like you said, I'm struggling to focus on the 21st century and pull in reading comprehension. But I don't know how I would reverse it either. I don't know how I could focus on reading comprehension and then tie in.
Okay. So when I look at your ultimate purpose statement, which is focused on this idea of this creative project, you have a list of resources and strategies to be used in the content area to engage students using technology while addressing their need for increased collaboration, critical thinking, and reading comprehension. What in that list is fundamentally the first thought you had and the thing that you're hanging on to that you really don't ever want to let go of?
I don't know, because I think it's all been so scrambled that I don't know if I have that anymore. To be I mean, perfectly honest, I don't know if I do.
So you want to toss it all? And I mean, we're not going to like toss it all and like not keep any of this, but do you want to start fresh and start it from a new angle?
I mean, I don't really want to because that terrifies me, starting all over again. And that's just, but I mean, I want to keep, I don't know. I can't envision anything else.
Okay. So when I hear you talking, I'm like, okay, you're a social studies teacher. You've got a wide, diverse group of students in your classroom who are all at various different reading levels. There's a real easy way you could argue or bring that in that, okay, we've got kids are struggling in reading, you've got your reading scores, you've got diverse student populations coming into social studies, that all have to be addressed, but plus you have your social studies content. You also bring in the idea of student engagement. Is that something you really want to make sure that students are more engaged in your class rather than less engaged?
No, I do like engagement, but I've completely struggled to find evidence of engagement. I mean, I found a couple of studies, but that's the only thing I've been able to find for middle school engagement, and even in social studies. Yeah.
You're not going to necessarily get down directly to probably middle school or social studies. You're probably trying to narrow it down too small when you're thinking about engagement. Most of those studies have probably been done in broader contexts.
I mean, technology is another huge topic for me. It's another huge passion, and I like the idea of technology and trying to use that to help my students with their understanding or even their engagement. But I don't know if that's a clear connection with reading.
You're going to have to narrow it down. Yeah, I think that's where part of the struggle is coming, is right now you are going in too many different directions and you just keep spreading it wider.
Yes, I would agree.
And you need to focus it in. So what if you focused it on the idea of what technology resources can help you? Can help you address the diversity of reading comprehension skills in your content classroom.
So could you give me maybe an example just so I feel like I understand what that would necessarily mean?
So I mean, that could be as simple as, is there any research or studies out there on well, I was just talking to Beth, and she said she found